generative background on
Oh.
Google.
Oh, nice. All right. Welcome, everybody. July 2nd, 2024. This is the AI Salon. Leah Fasten, you're back.
I am.
Better than ever. You're in your blue mode.
Well, I have a self-portrait on my background today. We're gonna have some self-portrait fun today here at the salon. So
Some action. Some
self-portrait action. So here I am with one of my self-portraits.
So where have you been? Not that you need an excuse to not show up, but you need an excuse. Where were you? What were you doing? And did you have a good time?
I had a good time. I was making some images and I was in and out of New York for some meetings.
Nice.
I had a great time. I had an interesting meeting with a friend who runs, he's an old school retoucher, right? Old school retoucher from way back who has grown his company into a fairly large, he's gone into CGI, a post-production house, and a really well-known and very talented post-production house. And we talked about AI, and he blew me away. And he was showing me how they now have clients who are primarily using Getty Images and Adobe Firefly and generating and then handing pretty close generations off to him and his company.
Oh, and he tightens them up?
Yeah, to finish the retouching, right? So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, well, it's sort of cool. It makes those of us who are capturing images in camera.
Oh, not as cool.
A little bit obsolete.
That's what I was going to ask you is like, in that world of yours, like, is anyone talking about it, or is it just like, la, 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 la?
I think people are talking about it. I think people are saying things like, I wonder why I haven't actually worked that much. And I don't know if people are quite putting it all together, but I do think that the portraits and the one-person images that are easy to generate are something we're all sort of thinking about, like the really human stuff, the really messy stuff, right? Yeah. Which is what I actually do really well, and people bring me on for. Is really hard to generate.
Yeah,
but the portraits are not. So we did that, and then also I don't know how to say this, but there's been a lot of momming, a lot of navigating kids coming back from school and weird hours that I'm not used to, and sometimes the juggle is real, man. So for the moms out there, you hear me and you get it. So there's been a little bit of that too.
The work-life balance tip the other way.
That's exactly right. And Kyle, how are you? What's been going on? What's new?
I've been busier than crap at work, which is good and bad, right? It's good because there's a lot going on, but I think by definition, I haven't had as much time to focus on AI stuff. And it's like, I think part of the lesson for me has been, oh, it's okay. Like, it's fine.
Right.
like life goes on, right? I think we're all still in this bizarre holding pattern, even though there's lots of exciting things that have been launching. We're kind of in this, is OpenAI ever going to launch, GPT-5 or their next big thing? And so I think the entire sort of industry right now sort of has this pall of just like, we're waiting for something, even though there's still lots and lots to play with and lots to do. So,
and I it's funny, I feel like I go in and out of it, right? I get really into it and I'm generating and I'm playing with tools, and then I take a break and I go do other things. And on one hand, I feel like years go by and I missed all this stuff. And on the other hand, it's like, well, it doesn't matter if I take 2 days off or a week or a month off, because I'm still going to be really behind. So just embrace it and then catch up wherever I land. Right.
Yeah. And then people have saying to me, like, have you switched to Claude from ChatGPT? And I'm like, I haven't really used either in like a week or two. So no, like I do parlor tricks more in Claude now, but in my day-to-day life, it's just, I use it in little dribs and drabs here and there because I've got so much going on that it's just not that.
I'm launching a print on demand brand that I'm working on, and I have been using ChatGPT nonstop. It has just been my intern. It's been my tool. It is amazing to me how much more productive I've been because of ChatGPT. And it's exciting to be launching something and really see how the tools are working versus just like, well, look at this cool thing I can do. Look at this cool thing I can do. It's that like I have my own social media manager, and I have my own print on demand expert, and I have like all of these experts that live in ChatGPT that have just been, and Rick just posted perplexity pages as a rabbit hole of marketing blogs. Like, it's just like, now I'm able, and I get it. Like, it's like, okay, this really is working.
Yeah. Perplexity pages is pretty cool. Well, anyway, let's get started. So if you're new here, this is the AI Salon. We are a ragtag group of folks. We'll talk about that in a second. The real reason to be here is if you're curious about AI in any way, and join this community. This community is really quite remarkable. So let me share my screen, and we'll talk about what we're about here, what we're up to. So the new tagline for the AI Salon is "Play First." And when Lee and I hit upon this, as we're talking about, not so much what do we want the salon to be, but what have we created? What is it? What is it that makes the salon different? And it's this idea that the people that are here have this sense of adventure and have this willingness and this curiosity to play first. And so that's the new tagline of the salon. And I'd like to share with you. I'm going over to the salon right now. And I'd like to share with you the vision of the salon, because if you're wondering, hey, what's this all about? Who are these people? This is what we're about. That none. We're a talented group of misfits, ne'er-do-wells, and those brave enough to face the terrifying uncertainty and exciting inevitability of generative AI head-on. We gather to support and inspire one another to step into the unknown together. On this journey, we play first, mindfully create, and generously lead to rediscover ourselves and reinvent the work we do. If we succeed on our journey, we just may bend the arc of humanity ever so slightly toward the light. And there's just something about this community that kind of embodies that spirit, and it feels like a safe place where you can come be clueless, and you can come be an expert, and you can come lead, and you can come follow, and all that sort of stuff. And so that's what we've put together. And Liz, who's been the co-host when you've been out, she inspired us to articulate what she called the AI Salon journey. And she shared her journey, and what we distilled it down into was these three things: play first, mindfully create, and generously lead. And this, now that we've articulated this, I'm so excited about this. Do you want to just share where you are, Leah, with this idea of this journey and why you're excited about it? Because I talk about it a lot, but
yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because it feels like us. It feels like you and I. I mean, this is how I've built my career. This is how I've become who I am, and this is how you have as well. And I think this is, the salon started with play first.
Yeah.
I mean, we started a conversation because we were both playing with Stable Diffusion tools, right? And that's all we were doing was playing. And that is where we start, and that is what we want this community to start with as well.
Yeah.
The other piece, the mindfully create, is really important to me as well. And the word is mind, right? Mindfully has a lot of meanings to it, but I find that mind implies it's our human minds, and that what we are doing is creating. We are the ones doing the creating, and we're working with the tools that support us.
Yep.
That's where mindfully create means, which is what we're doing here, right? That's what we're about. And generously lead, what's all this for, right? It's to give back. It's to be part of something bigger. And I find that there's so many people in the salon who lead in so many different ways that we all learn from each other.
Yep.
And that's a really important piece.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's where I'm at. The more I think about this, and the more it sort of synthesizes in my mind, and how it's an intersection of you and I, and where the paths we've come from, feels really good.
Yeah. And I would even say on the generously lead part, it's like, yeah, it's good to give back, but even if you're just a completely selfish bastard, um, generously leading in a community like this is absolutely going to serve you, right? Because you're going to establish yourself as a leader. You're going to establish yourself as an expert, as someone who's willing to step up and support others and let them support you. And so the benefit of generously leading, if you're intimidated by it, there's a lot in it for you if you haven't really stepped into that role. And so the journey to AI literacy is this: that we play first, joyfully exploring generative AI, gaining the knowledge and inspiration to mindfully create, surprising ourselves and powerfully meeting challenges, unleashing us to generously lead others, enriching lives, redefining what's possible, and unlocking a new era of human achievement. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take just 5 minutes or so and just raise your hand. I want to talk first about who's playing first right now. Who's in the middle of learning some new tool or learning something? So either put comments in the chat, or if you'd be willing to just raise your hand, like who's in the middle of learning something right now? Who's playing first? Who's playing with something with AI right now, where they're in that messy area? James.
And I'm going to just jump in really quick and say, put a tool in. What's a tool you're playing with that other people can jump in as well, or something like share with us something we can take and play with as well.
Yeah. James.
Okay. So I'm working with trying to mingle my physical real world art into AI as a movie prompt or a scene. And I did one, I posted on Facebook, TikTok, and it really impressed people, and it made me more eager to see where I can explore with that. But I don't want to lose the artistic creative edge of my art style to the 100% augmented reality. So I was working with Luma Labs, and I couldn't control the prompt to keep the camera where I wanted to do the scene changes I wanted to do. So I was doing research on how to use better prompting within Luma Lab software or website, and it couldn't provide me the better prompt to write. I said stabilize the camera, time lapse the background, and none of that was really working. It was doing something, but it was not doing what I asked for.
Yeah.
So that's the story.
Cool. Love it. Small Tech. I don't know who your first name is or what you look like.
Sorry.
You have a cool image.
Thank you. I'm just using Claude, and I'm trying to make a high school application for and it's been a dream of mine since I was in high school. So I'm trying to innovate for myself because I have a disability. So I can't really do everything that everybody else can do. Just try and automate everything that I can do.
Oh, that's incredible. That's awesome. And you're using Claude to do that, you said? You're breaking
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Man, congrats. That's huge. The AI as an accessibility amplifier is just, it's the thing I'm probably most excited about. So that's awesome you're doing that. If you would just share anything in the chat that you've discovered or that you're learning, because that's awesome. One more on Play First. Rick.
Yeah, I've been deep diving in everything. I think I've tried every application that's come out, including Gen 3. I'm using Luma a lot. I'm using Suno to make music, and then I'm putting it with Luma for transitional images that I'm doing. And then I'm using Crea to go between images. And the whole thing I turned into a music video.
Nice.
With a lot of editing. And I'm using Crea to upscale my images, which is as good as Magnifique. I've done side-by-side testing, and it's better than Topaz, which is great for upscaling, but it doesn't create detail where it's not existing. So faces get created, bodies get created. A lot of nipples show up all of a sudden out of nowhere, and faces all over the place, which are just really fun to find. So I'm having fun. And perplexity with pages, I want to start creating blogs about any subject I'm interested about going deep diving with. The one I put there is for music is all about copyright and music and all the lawsuits. So I'm doing my own news gathering, and then you can share with other people. But I'm going to try to figure out a way, if anybody knows how, to get my perplexity pages into my own personal blog in my own space.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, so let's shift to mindfully create. So who's working on a project right now where you've taken some tools you've learned and you're actually applying it either at work or some interesting project? Anyone? Raise your hand. Keith Newton.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, sure. So I go by Dr. Keith. Google has yet to acknowledge me as Dr. Keith, but oh, blimey. It's interesting. I actually lectured to this group's ethics on AI group last evening on accessibility and artificial intelligence. The one thing that I'm missing right now in terms of applications that I'm building is I'm building a good application to help with accessibility reporting and using OpenAI's API to consolidate the results and then the results of accessibility audits, and then also help to provide the reports in meaningful human language so that anybody, regardless of their issues, regardless of their understanding of accessibility, can identify, diagnose, mitigate, and then remediate accessibility defects. If you get a chance to work with I know the ethics group recorded the presentation last evening. There's another lady, Sherry Bryn Haber, who's ridiculously good at what she does in terms of accessibility and artificial intelligence. But we're both kind of on similar tracks in that kind of reporting. And that's my humble brag.
Wow, love it, love it, love it.
Amazing.
If there's anything you want us to check out, just pop it in the chat. That's super cool. Anne Murphy, wait, you're up to something? You're building something?
I know.
It's like every third day there's a new project, there's a new channel.
I know. It's such a problem. But listen, here's what's so cool. So I'm working on a project with somebody else who has the same like 20, 25 years of subject matter expertise as I do, and is also like where I am with her AI skills, this is the first time I've been able to have, like there aren't that many people who have those two things, and the two of us are like crushing this project, and like neither one of us are working hard at all. We're just iterating back and forth, and it just happens in such rapid time. And like, she's at the pool with her kids, I'm chasing my kid down, like we're just banging this thing out, and we have like all the things. It's practically done, and we just started a few days ago. It's amazing.
So amazing.
And you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like I gotta say that thing of you've got the deep expertise, your ability to just be like Jedis that take the output of the AI and go, that's good, that's bad, right? That ability to synthesize really quickly because of those 25 years, that is such a superpower.
It's such a superpower, and I'm finally seeing what it's like when other people have that same superpower. Now I'm understanding the exponential growth that you could have in organizations as a result of this. Imagine if an entire organization had these skills.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been fun.
Yeah, really good. Okay.
I appreciate the nod to doing it while you're running around the pool with your kids too. My entire career has been about how to be a full-time mom and how to be a full-time photographer. So I appreciate that this is feeding right into the kids.
That's great. Okay, I want to do one more now. The generously lead. So I would love to hear anyone who in the past couple of weeks has either taught someone individually, like given them their first Kevin McAllister moment, or if you've done something at work where you got asked to present to a group or something like that. So who's stepped into a leadership position, whether you wanted to or not? James.
Yeah, I had a couple clients who are book authors on TikTok, and we were discussing a problem they were having with translating, temporal translation, which is to be able to translate from 200-year-old, 250-year-old English writing to modern language.
Wow.
And I developed a GPT that I put on the public
Oh, that's awesome.
For handling documents that are antiquated and old, and keeping the restrictive rules of an editor so that it does provide context if there's any questionable language or any other questionable taboo type topics, that it is known to be a temporary problem of a time. So that's available.
Wow.
And it blew their minds.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, great. Awesome. Jessica Winter.
Hey, everybody.
Martin. Hey there.
Yeah. So I'm new to the group and everything, but I just recently, a couple weeks ago, spoke at a conference where I taught about AI and using AI for generative AI to make video. So I did a presentation about that. I'm actually going to be doing one in a couple of weeks on a similar topic.
Great. Who was the audience?
AI. Mostly film producers, people in the film industry, and just kind of other people I'd invited, but mostly people who work in film and media.
Wow.
In industry. It was a live in-person one here in DC. So they brought people in mostly in film, media. I invited some photographers, just other, prospective clients and clients of mine. I do AI consulting.
Wow, that's great. Any hostility, or were they generally well behaved?
Yeah, the age group was definitely mostly in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So it was definitely an older audience. And if people weren't hostile at all in the Q&A portion, people just really wanted to know how they could apply it to what they were doing or how to use it. Cool. Concerns about how to teach to their audience. I think that's the biggest concern is can I teach, or can this be taught to people who are, boomers for the most part. To that older audience, which is mostly who I teach. I mostly teach Gen X and boomers.
That's
and
cool.
So that was
nice. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. Welcome to the salon.
Thanks.
Lori Blair.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, everybody. The train just decided to go by in Vermont. So, it goes by twice a day, and here it comes. So I have a neighbor who I've known for 37 years living here, and the other day he stopped me in my car, and I was on my way someplace that I was late for. And he said, "I heard you did AI." And I was like, "Yeah." And he owns a construction business. And so he said, "Well, can you come over?" Long story short, he came over a couple hours ago on Saturday, or a couple days ago. And it was tough because I felt like a giddy schoolgirl, just like finally letting it out of my body, and out of my brain. And just, I told him everything I knew, and he was going nuts over it. He was just,
wow.
He tried to leave a couple times, but I wouldn't let him. So, I was like, one more thing. But it was fun. I also, speaking to you, Anne, about talking to somebody that was very much like you, I had a phone conversation with Kelly the other day, and it felt like, because I don't usually talk to y'all, and it was just like amazing to talk to somebody that knew what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Lori, a lot. I think that's the whole purpose of this group is exactly for that kind of conversation to happen. These meetings are great and all, but if we can use these to identify, it might be good to talk to Kelly or lawyer, this or that. I think that's what this is all about. So huge, just great. Yeah. John Leland, one more, and then we'll turn it over to Leah to do a arts and crafts project.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I have a really small, simple one, but I wanted to share it because it's so powerful to me, at least. I was over in Hawaii a couple weeks ago, I guess about a month ago, and talking to a woman who actually cleans the house that I was house sitting in. She's originally from Brazil, and I explained what ChatGPT is and gave her a little demo. And I got a follow-up note from my host who said that Clea is her name, that Clea was just over the moon thrilled to have learned about ChatGPT, in particular because although she speaks good English, she's very insecure about her written communications. And sometimes she'll have to send an email or other kinds of written businessy communications. And she's so thrilled to have ChatGPT make sure that the grammar is correct, that the spelling is correct, the stuff that she doesn't know how to do. And it was just like, I accidentally made a big difference in someone's life just by saying what this ChatGPT thing is. So that's my leading with whatever it's called.
Yeah, generously leading. No, it's huge because that idea of accessibility, like, it's sometimes it's going to be really small, just like the ability to have the confidence that the grammar's right is going to make a huge difference for her. So that's awesome. All right, great. So listen, that idea, play first, mindfully create, generously lead. Keep cycling through that. That's not like something you do once. It's just this thing that keeps evolving. New tools come, play with them, build something with them, lead, right? Just keep cycling. Sometimes you might get exhausted of leading. You're like, I just want to learn from someone else. Let them lead, right? Just keep cycling through that. So with that, Leah and I have decided after 18 months, it might be swell to have a website. So with that, Leah has a project, and Leah, why don't you tell everyone what we're up to and what you want to do?
Okay. So I'm working on the website, a little old school. I know it's AI Salon, but I am, using Squarespace. And I want to put circles of self-portraits on the website, but I want them to be generative portraits. I put a call for it into the salon, and if you go into the salon,
screen, hang on.
You can, if you go into the Mighty Network, maybe Kyle, if you want to put a link to the network, you can see some people have already started to put their, yeah, there we go. Thank you. And you can sort of see I've already done the design and how that's coming along, and then we'll drop other portraits besides me in of our salon. So I
thought it was a little Leah-centric when I first saw it, but I like it.
And I think some of the comments were, hey, I'm not even sure how to do a self-portrait. So I thought what we could do tonight is we could take 10 minutes and do some generating. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to generate in Midjourney because right now that's what I'm most comfortable generating in. I would encourage you to use any generative tool that you're excited to. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and talk a little bit about my approach to generating portraits in Midjourney. And then what I would love is for people to join along and to generate portraits and then to share them in the salon. And then I can add them to the website. And obviously, by showing it in the salon, you'll let us use it on the website. Okay, so I'm going to do some generating. And I'm always a little bit clumsy when I share my screen. So please let me know if something's happening and it's not normal. I've uploaded in Midjourney.
So you're using Discord, right? So you're using the Discord thing, not the website.
I am in the Discord version of Midjourney, not the Midjourney website, which I still find a little hard to use because I've been generating in Midjourney for a year and a half. And I tend to, with my creative processes, stick to what works. So I'm in Discord. Luckily, we're not shooting film for this, okay? So I'm in Discord, and I'm using Midjourney in Discord. And I understand that not everyone here does that, but this is what I'm going to show you. This is what I'm doing. And you can do this in whatever generative tool that you like to use. And if you are comfortable in Midjourney, please generate along. I'll show you some of the tools I use to do self-portraits. So this is a biopic that I have that is my current biopic. I put it on my websites. There is a little bit of generative AI in here in that I did kind of zhuzh up my hair a little bit and make it look better than it did in the original photograph. That's more retouching, but there's some AI in it. And I'm going to go ahead and I want to show that to you because I'm actually going to I'm going to start off by asking Midjourney to describe this photo for me. And this is something I like to do. You can also have Midjourney like describe. You can also have ChatGPT do a description. There's lots of ways to get a description to start generating from.
And Leah, just to jump in, where is the post in Mighty Networks? What channel is it in? I'll put the link over there.
I want it in like the it's in the like competitions and
competitions.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have a few. Let's see what it says about me. A photo of a smiling face of an attractive woman. Thank you, Midjourney, in her mid-40s with long, curly, dark hair. Okay, so we're going to, let's see, what do we have? A smiling middle-aged woman. Okay, let's start with one. And we're gonna go ahead and start there. And let's just see what it gives me. I think it's going to need more than this. And see what it says. I'm also going to show you a couple other images that I've generated. And I'm going to show you this because I like the style of them, and I'm probably going to do some style training. So let's do another generation of number one, but let's add a style reference to it. So this is the same prompt we're using, but I'm adding this as a style reference, and that is double dash with sref.
And that's the link to the picture that you just showed us that you like the style of?
Exactly. So this link is to this photo.
Got it.
It's style training on this photo. Let's see what happens when you compare the two. I also want to say that self-portraits can look like you, but they also don't have to look like you. So they can be very interpretive. It's your portrait. You can do whatever you want. Let's take a look at some of these. Okay.
Wow.
Let's see. I don't think these are, I don't think they quite look like me, although I like the hair on number two a lot. So let's see what we can do with number two. Well, up as number two. Let's see what we got here. And this was style trained on the other one, which is interesting.
Those look more like you.
Yep, they do look more like me. So let's do number two.
Wow.
All right, let's see.
When you do upscaling, do you do upscale creative or upscale subtle, or do you just you just do the normal upscale to start?
Yep. I'm just choosing which one I want to upload.
Got it.
Which one I want to upscale. Okay, let's vary this strong. And let's do a different, let's try this style reference. So I'm going to style reference this image, right? Instead of the one I just did. And let's see how that evolves.
Oh, that's cool. It's so cool just watching like the little subtle ways you do this different than the way I do it. Like, it really is like the smallest little things are like, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
That's right. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I get really impatient waiting for things, so then I'll do another prompt. So let's try number two. Let's go ahead and put that picture right in the image description. So that's, let's see, that's this picture. And then let's style train on this one. You can see this is all very, very scientific that I'm doing.
That's cool.
I'm playing. And one of the things for me, even just in my photography career, is play. We play on set an awful lot. I'm an improv performer. And so one of my favorite things about generative AI is this improvisational way of working, right? I don't really have a goal here. I don't have an end goal. I don't know what we're going to get from this generating. And that to me is what's really fun and really exciting about it. I'm not trying to create an exact picture. I'm not saying I want this to look a certain way. I'm saying, let's see what happens when we start to play and put different images together.
Is that a similar relationship to making pictures with a camera where it's, you're just waiting for the shot to show up, or is that more intentional? What's the relationship for how you make images this way versus with a camera?
That's a really interesting question, Kyle. I think that when I make pictures with my camera commercially, I set up stories and then create an improvisational experience in that story for the performers, and then I don't know what's going to happen.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm loving the light on these.
Yeah, those are great. Love that top right one, number two.
Yeah, me too. I really like the light on that. And what I like about it is it actually feels a little bit like light I might put on a subject in real life.
Oh, those are cool. Look at those.
Okay. These are getting interesting.
Yeah. John Leland has a question.
Yeah, John, what's up?
Obviously, you could give it more, bigger smile, rainbow colors in the background, whatever.
I could absolutely do that. that is not generally how I generate, which is interesting. I really like the let's wait and see what happens. You know, I started out as a documentary street photographer, like just wandering around, seeing what kind of images I could capture. And I think to me, this feels a lot like that. So this is my favorite one so far, and we're going to wrap up here. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to open this, and I'm actually going to combine this image. I'm going to blend this image. I could use the blend tool. I prefer the imagine tool. It gives me more control. I'm going to blend this image with my original self-portrait that I uploaded, my original bio photo.
Did you put a period after that first
link?
link?
There is one, but I don't think I meant to do that. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, okay, space for the two images, and then I might put a little bit of I might get a little photo direction. Let's do a Polaroid snapshot.
Oh, cool.
With strong lighting. And let's see what happens. Actually, let's give it a little bit of I like putting a modifier in that's going to give a little variety. Let's see what happens. And I am hoping that you guys are generating along with me and dropping your images into the salon.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat. I'll drop it again
Excellent.
Right now. There's the thing. Put it there. Rick McCauley has a question.
Yeah, I've tried face swap within Discord, where it will actually take a photograph of you, upload, and whatever you generate, it puts your actual face over it, which is pretty cool. And it's free. Yeah, I put a link in the thing there for face swap.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
And then on the web, there's a new describe tool, and also it's much easier to put multiple pictures together to train as references by just dragging and dropping.
Amazing.
So there's also a link in there for how to use the describe tool in the web version, which is very different. And it's kind of a hidden feature. And actually, Pete is the one that gave us the idea from his live podcast the other day.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you, Rick.
Sure.
Okay, so this is my favorite one because it looks like how I looked when I was 18. So that's
cool.
That's me in like 1992, and I love it. So that's gonna be the final one because let's just keep myself there at in 1992.
Yeah, exactly. Living vicariously through your AI generation.
That's right. I like this. I'm probably at a Pearl Jam show. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
okay, great.
That's great.
Excellent. So that just to give you a little taste of doing it. Clearly, there are better and more exciting ways and easier ways to do it, and ways that are going to feel right for you. And that is what I'm going to encourage you to do. I wanted to show you a little bit about how I'm doing it. And if you liked doing this and you want to do another Midjourney jam, let me know and we can maybe set up another portrait jam later on this week if people are around.
Do me a favor, Leah, just quickly download that one. You don't even have to upscale it, but just download it and then upload it. Just jump over to the AI Salon to the challenges post and show people how to post there in case someone's new to the Mighty Networks system. Mighty Networks is kind of similar to Facebook, but I think it would be good just for them to see it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my image out.
I'm constantly blown away back to this idea of mindfully creating, that by creating with the intentionality that you have as a photographer, as a picture maker, that you get it to generate things that are so true to who you are, right? And it feels so different than just all the crap you see out there when, people just say, give me a chick.
Right. That's right. That's the idea. There's a lot of that. Nipples, as someone said earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. Spontaneous nipples, I think, was the term.
Yep. Okay. So hold on, because I have to switch users. Just stand by for a sec while Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this, and I have to switch to my other I started generating is Triceratops 9 during the pandemic when I was working on NFTs, and I never really switched over to my phone. Triceratops 9 is my Discord.
That's funny.
So let me switch over to a different. Okay. Here, now we're in the salon.
We just still see Triceratops now. Now we got it.
Yep. You got it?
Yep.
Okay, so now you're in the salon. If you go down to show off your work with challenges and competitions, you click on that. And you'll see the post I made with me, and you'll see some pretty awesome portraits that our folks have made. And so now I'm going to upload mine, and I'm going to put the ad in. I'm going to choose photos. I don't want anyone to judge what I'm about to show you on my laptop. Okay, and then if we go to oh, I think I just uploaded the wrong photo. Hold on. I just uploaded the wrong photo.
Still a cool photo.
But that's how I did it. I'll go ahead and upload the other one. But you saw how I went and I clicked on the image and then it uploaded, and then I can go ahead and.
Yep. Andy Lee just said, I've not played with Midjourney yet. Is there a guild for it in the salon? There's lots of areas in the salon that can do it. Peter Kaminsky's Learn and Do with Peter. He does a lot with Midjourney. There are a ton of people in the chat right now that do it. So if one or more of you can adopt Andy Lee and you know get him corralled and up to speed. The one thing you need to know, Andy, is that Midjourney, there's no free version of Midjourney anymore, so you do have to have a subscription for it. But it's the best of the image generation tools in my opinion. Danielle Hall.
There it goes. Sorry, I was on mute. So hi everyone.
Hi, Danielle.
So I didn't want to take your steal your thunder or anything, because I know you were gonna do the whole image generation with the for portraits, but I did create kind of a prompt for Mad Libs to do that for people that I haven't but it's using Hugging Face with what is that? It's called what do they call it on there? It's you don't have to sign in or anything.
Spaces, I think, or
it's one of their Spaces one, but you don't have to sign in or anything. But I'm giving all the directions. But I keep on trying to use it right now, and it must be really busy during the day with all their and so it must be. So I won't upload it till like a little later but I'm giving all the instructions. Like you'll have to use one of your pictures and then tell like it to upload it into ChatGPT, tell it to make it in a certain art style. I'm giving you all the information how to do it. Take that picture over to Hugging Face with your original picture, smack them together, and it'll make it look just like you, but in that style.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Amazing. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, can you put a link to that in the
well, I'm trying to finish it right now, but
okay.
it keeps.
I didn't realize you weren't finished.
Well, I would be finished if it would if I didn't keep on getting error messages on the stinking website. It's really busy right now. So
okay. All right, cool.
I'll get it up.
Pop it in there. That's great. All right, cool. Thanks, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Let me look at my agenda here and see if there's anything we missed. I was going to show some video stuff, but if you don't know lumalabs.ai, that's called Dream Machine. You can make videos there for free. If you make them for free, the queuing time, the last time I made videos there was about 8 hours. So if you want them faster than 8 hours, you might want to pay for it. But what's cool about Dream Machine is you can upload an opening keyframe and a closing keyframe of the video. So one of the things I did is I went over to ChatGPT and had it create a little story and create the images, the beginning and the end, and then had it do that. And then also Gen 3 from Runway, runwayml.com. Gen 3 is available for free for everyone as well. So you can go play with that. Or no, I don't think it's for free, but it's available to any paid user right now. And it uses up your credits pretty quick, but it's available. So go play with that stuff. with that, anything else from you, Leah, that we want to cover?
I think we've covered it. I really want to encourage everyone to put your generative self-portrait in.
Because this is going to be when people come to the site, right? Let's show our creativity, who we are, what we're about, all that intentionality, all that mindfulness.
And it's our community and it's us. So let's do it. Go do it. And again, it doesn't have to look like you. It just has to be inspired by you, right? It doesn't have to be, just have fun with it and let's make something that we feel like is of you as an offering to the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So I saw Caleb posted in the chat. So Caleb, I think you're here. Is that correct? You are here?
I am here. Hello.
Fantastic. So I'm super excited to welcome onto the AI Salon stage Caleb Ward, who's the founder and CEO of Curious Refuge, who have been teaching storytelling and filmmaking for a long time. I'll let you tell your story, but really excited to have you here because you have jumped in with both feet in the generative AI pool, which given all the vitriol that you hear from the world of Hollywood and California, like I don't know if you're doing this from an undisclosed bunker somewhere, but I'm really excited to have you. So everybody, please welcome Caleb Ward. And Caleb, take it away, and really excited to hear what you have to say today.
Well, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. And I see some raised hands. I think Keith, your hand is raised. Were you wanting to say something before we get started here?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to give applause, but since I am saying something, I have watched a bunch of your videos online, especially all the AI stuff that you've been generating in the last couple of weeks with all the changes with Runway and Luma and everything. And, they've been very helpful in terms of understanding the overall space and some of the practical ways in which you're putting that stuff together. So apologies. I just meant to put a hand clap, but now that I've mentioned that, okay, go do your thing.
That's awesome. Started out with some kudos. That's good.
I appreciate that. Yes. And thanks to everyone in the chat who was so kind as well. I appreciate that. I basically, I have a presentation. So what I'll do is I'll give a presentation for maybe 20 to 30 minutes. And then after that, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. We can talk about filmmaking, AI, storytelling, anything you guys want to talk about. Definitely willing to chat about whatever's on your mind. But a quick little background. So I am the co-founder of Curious Refuge, along with my wife, Shelby. We started the world's first online home for AI storytellers, and we now teach people in 125 countries. Our students have gone on to land movie deals, full-time jobs as AI creatives. We had one guy who used to be a dentist and decided he hated dentistry and wanted to get into the film industry, and went through our program, and now he's a full-time storyteller, which is really exciting. So lots of really cool stories. We host all sorts of competitions and just ways to engage the community. But I'm gonna screen share here, and hopefully the audio goes through. I know with Google Meet it can be a little tricky. I've gone ahead and turned off my noise cancellation, so hopefully you guys can hear me pretty well. So let me change this here, and there we go. And then I'm testing out like a virtual production thing behind me. So that's the infinite little, like, I don't know, Death Star corridor. So if it's weird, just let me know and I'll kill it. All right. So you guys can see my screen?
Yep.
Fantastic. So let me get started here. Don't want to see that. Can you guys see, you see my notes?
No, we see your presenter notes.
Okay. Well, that's not very fun. Here, play from the start. How do you, let's see here.
Yeah, swap displays. Yeah, there you
go. Swap displays, that's the one? Okay.
Should do it. Yep, there you go.
Going in without the presenter notes. That's brave. All right. So here we go. So I'll try to take up just a little bit of your time here. So I really want to talk to you guys about how AI is changing storytelling, because the shift to artificial intelligence in not only Hollywood, but really in humanity as a whole is really a rewiring in the way that we think about stories, which are ultimately the algorithms that power the stories that we tell ourselves and the way in which we function as a society. So a bit about my background. So Shelby and I both worked in the online education world for a long time. We worked at an online animation school called School of Motion, teaching Adobe After Effects, Cinema 4D, and tools like that. And then up until about 12 months ago, we worked and ran a VFX school called Rebel Way that taught Houdini, Nuke, and Unreal Engine. We trained artists, the team behind The Way of Water, and they went on to win an Academy Award, teams at Disney, ILM, and that was really, really fun. But that was until artificial intelligence started to pop up, and we saw projects like Harry Potter Balenciaga, which was hilarious. That was like last spring that this video came out. And whenever I saw projects like this, it really got me thinking, for the first time in history, an AI generated video was holding an audience's attention. And so I was curious. I wanted to put together an experiment and see if AI could actually put together a film concept. Because if it could, that has huge implications for the future of both Hollywood and storytelling. And so I put, in the quaintest corner of pause that. I put together a quick project. The first one was Star Wars by Wes Anderson. This is Lord of the Rings by Wes Anderson. And I'll go ahead and play this. You might have seen this. And just give me a shout, Kyle, if the audio sounds weird.
No, it sounded good so far. So
fantastic. All right, I'll go ahead and play this.
In the quaintest corner of Middle-earth, embark on an epic journey unlike any you've experienced before. This winter, Wes Anderson presents a heartwarming and quirky adaptation of a beloved classic, The Whimsical Fellowship. Meet Frodo Baggins, an unassuming hobbit, chosen for an extraordinary task. Guided by the enigmatic wizard Gandalf, Frodo embarks on a captivating journey with a colorful crew. Follow these heroes as they traverse idyllic countrysides and enchanted forests, bound together by a mission to save their world from looming darkness.
Our quest is clear. We must destroy the One Ring, overcome the eccentricities of our newfound fellowship, and perhaps learn the true meaning of friendship along the way. For this adventure, we'll require a walking stick, antique maps, breakfast, the Ring of Power, a pipe, a sword, and second breakfast.
Featuring an illustrious cast of Middle-earth's most distinctive inhabitants, starring Timothy Chalamet, Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, Edward Norton, Lea Seydoux, Benicio del Toro, Adrian Brody, Bob Balaban, Jeff Goldblum, Ben Stiller, Christoph Waltz, Willem Dafoe, and Owen Wilson. The Whimsical Fellowship is a refreshingly unique interpretation of Tolkien's timeless tale. Journey into theaters this summer, and remember, not all those who wander are lost.
All right, so that project was next slide here. So that project was very popular, and actually over the course of the couple of weeks when we were putting those together, Wes Anderson was actually more popular than at any time in his entire career. So it was really funny to just be a part of just a larger cultural conversation. But from that experience, we realized that so many people were curious about how to use AI for storytelling. And so we started Curious Refuge, and we now have an AI filmmaking course and an AI advertising course. Both of those courses actually start up tomorrow, which is really exciting for July. And then we have courses that run basically every single month, and we train artists at every major studio. So like I said, we have artists in 125 countries, and we like to do all sorts of really fun things, from online competitions to we actually hosted the world's first creative AI esports tournament in Las Vegas at the HyperX Arena. Basically, people use generative AI to compete, to create different creative things. And we had a huge group of people there. I think it was like 450 people, and people were screaming, and the winner got an Apple Vision Pro. It was a lot of fun. So AI is really changing the way that we approach our workflows. Traditionally, whenever you are working on a Hollywood project, typically you have pre-production, production, post-production, and then marketing and distribution. And so each one of these steps in the pipeline kind of waterfall into the next step. But now with AI, it's essentially condensing the entire process and allowing pre-production and the creative visionaries and the writers behind a project to have more of a say in every aspect of the production process. For example, you can create a concept film that perfectly embodies the way you want your final film to look like, and you can go do audience testing before you've even shot a single frame of footage. And so there's all sorts of different creative and things that you can do to validate your ideas on the front end that would have been very challenging before, or maybe you would have used something like a rip reel or just simple concept art before. So I don't know if you guys have heard of this term, FOBO, fear of becoming obsolete.
I haven't heard that term. I love it.
It's it's definitely I think a good analogy for what a lot of us are feeling right now. And we totally empathize with that. And we think that having conversations like this, like the AI Salon, we host conversations at Curious Refuge. We think it's very important to help people find their place as technology is changing. And so, to address your point earlier about, are people in Hollywood mad at you for like putting together the training? The truth is, with Curious Refuge, we don't want anyone to be left behind. And so that was our mission in establishing what we're doing. We want to help empower people to navigate the changes that happen with the industry and not just refuse to embrace the technology. I think Yoda said it best, that fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. So we are not going to push into fear. We think that curiosity defeats fear. So a quick little backstory. This might be old news for a lot of you guys, but AI actually is a very, very old concept. It's from 1956. It's not something that came out in 2022. It actually originated at a summer retreat at Dartmouth College. This guy, Arthur Samuel, created an AI checkers program back in 1959. And basically AI powers most of the online tools that we use every single day. AI tools at first, they were novelty. Midjourney version 1, looks interesting, but it's not realistic by any stretch of the imagination. And now we're at Midjourney 6. It's not even represented here. The results you get are basically photorealistic, and you wouldn't really know the difference. And it's funny because if you go to the news, there's going to be conflicting information about artificial intelligence and its role in society. So for example, Time Magazine at the end of 2022 said that AI is one of the best inventions of 2022. And a few months later, they also said that it's the end of humanity. So you're going to get mixed results and mixed opinions, even if you go to the same journalistic source. And what we like to do at Curious Refuge is really look to the past to inform the present and ultimately the future. And if we look at different creative mediums and how they've adopted over time, we see a similar pattern. So for example, this guy, Johannes, said that a scribe working on parchment paper will ensure that his work lasts a century and that printed book basically won't be around. But ironically, the only reason we know about this quote is because it was printed in a book. This guy said that basically photography is the stupidity of the multitude, and a few years later posed for a portrait. This woman, Marya Mans, said that television provides little sustenance for the mind and imagination, and then just a few years later decided to share her ideas on the BBC. And I came across this video. I'll play it. It's only about 2 minutes long. Basically, the Photoshop team, whenever Photoshop was released in 1988, hopped onto the Today Show. And you're going to find that a lot of the conversations sound very similar to the conversations that we hear as it relates to generative AI.
These days, the picture that the camera takes may well not be the picture that we end up seeing in newspapers and magazines. Technology makes it difficult, maybe even impossible, to tell what's real and what's not. Recently, the issue of altering photographs came up when Playboy added its logo to a picture of Roseanne Arquette without her knowledge or her approval. And then there was a huge publicity outcry last year when TV Guide tacked Oprah Winfrey's head onto Anne Margaret's body. Russell Brown is senior art director of Adobe Systems, a computer software company. He's busy at work today saying that with the right equipment, he can manipulate just about everything. You're already starting to manipulate photos. Good morning.
It's an early morning to get going.
You are not a photographer.
No.
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 You're a graphic artist.
Yes.
And yet you have taken photography as the medium in which you've been able to do some of your most interesting work.
Oh yeah, I see the computer is a wonderful tool for graphic artists, and I wouldn't live without it. It's just a must.
What's so bad about monkeying with the photograph and putting himself with Ronnie and Nancy?
Well, the thing is that photographs we still tend to believe as a society. If an eyewitness says they saw something, we might say maybe they're wrong, maybe a government denies it. It's one person's word against another. But my concern is that if the media takes to doing what Russell is demonstrating now, that people, the public, will begin to disbelieve photographs generally, and it won't be as effective and powerful a document of social communication as it has been for the last 150 years.
Rick, you bought that?
Well, I mean, I think that every time there's a new technology like this, there are a lot of ethical questions which have to be answered. I think the first thing that happens is that the artists, the creative people, wow, you know, Russell and his company have invented Photoshop. Let's play with it. Let's see what's going to happen. And what if the cowboy was from one photographer and the tree was from another photographer, and the third person actually combined the two images? This is something Russell and I talk about all the time. Who owns the image? Who has the copyright?
The idea of a photograph is it's taken at a certain instant, and you're not supposed to be able to go back in time and move the photographer a few feet to one side. That's against what we think of photography as being.
How do you respond to these kinds of arguments, Russell?
As a graphic artist, I see this as a tool that I have, and I would never give it up. It's something I'm going to have and always use. But I'm going to be very ethical with it.
I think you should tell your audience that you can do this for $800 now. It used to cost $1 million 2 years ago.
So anybody can do
With
it.
a Macintosh and Photoshop, that's all you need.
We have met the enemy, and he may
It's
be
here to
us.
stay.
Okay.
All right, so you can see a lot of the similar conversations that we hear again and again, even today. And I love that video had all of the adoption avatars with AI. You have the fear-mongering journalist, the guy saying that this is destroying art. You have the enthusiastic artist, and then you have the equally enthusiastic capitalist. And so my question is, which one are you? So really what's happening with artificial intelligence is we are no longer labor alone, we're curators. It's important to think of yourself as someone who is a storyteller and not just the labor alone to create the raw materials to create that story. And so your creative potential has just been multiplied 50 times over with artificial intelligence. And so whereas in the past, especially in a Hollywood pipeline, you may have served one very specific role in a huge production process that has thousands of different steps. Now, as we move forward, it is important to understand the entirety of the storytelling process and how your specific part in the filmmaking ecosystem plays into the larger story you're trying to tell. And so it's, of course, important to be able to look through 50, 100, thousands of generations and pick and choose the right outputs that make sense for the story you're trying to tell. However, there are, of course, real ethical dilemmas that we are working through as a society. One quick note is you don't want to completely get rid of artificial intelligence because AI powers everything from Google to autocorrect to Siri to even the spam filters that you have in your email inbox. So artificial intelligence has been helping us in our life for a long time. And one of the bigger challenges is the fact that the better AI algorithms, we are already talking about Midjourney today. Midjourney is trained on the data that they did not necessarily have permission to train their algorithms on, versus Adobe Firefly, which you'll see in the top left. They do technically have permission to train their algorithm on their images, but the results are just simply not as good. So the quality, if you want better and better quality, you have to ingest more data, which a lot of times, at least up to this point, that data is sometimes sourced in questionably ethical ways. You also, of course, have the conversation about labor and how this impacted jobs. And I think one quick illustration to kind of bring up as it relates to technological innovations, as it relates to labor, is The Simpsons. So The Simpsons in the 90s, whenever they were working on an episode, it took them about 9 months to create an episode of The Simpsons. But then computers came out, and having the ability to do automatic, ink and paint and, digital scans and really having the ability to streamline the process has allowed The Simpsons now to only be created in 11 months. So it takes more time now to create an episode of The Simpsons than what it took in the 90s. And back in the 90s, there were 51 crew members, but the process got automated, and now there are 234 crew members per episode. And the budget was $4 million, and now it is $3 million. So, back at that time, there were already conversations about computers coming in and removing jobs and completely removing storytelling opportunities. But really, whenever everything played out, more people were invited into the creative process, and there was ultimately more money involved as well. And here's a quick breakdown. This is directly from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. This is the number of employees employed in the United States in the film and television industry over time. You can see that in the 90s, we have the NLE, so the nonlinear editor. Basically, computer-based filmmaking began to become popular in video editing, and that really led to a big spike. And then we also have the streaming wars starting up, around 2015, and the expansion of that. And then, of course, COVID and the strikes have, done all sorts of things to the industry, and it's up and down. But generally speaking, with where we're at with labor, at least at this point right now, it's somewhat similar to pre-COVID levels. So whenever we're talking about the regulation of AI tools, one of my favorite stories that can kind of help us to understand how to proceed forward comes from Britain. So in the 1800s, basically cars were becoming more popular, and the legislative body in Britain decided that they needed to pass a law to protect women and children from getting hit by these cars. And so they passed what was called the red flag law. And basically that law said that anytime a car was driving down the street, a man had to wave a red flag, basically walk in front of the car so that no person was hit by that car. They had good intentions. They did not want people to be hurt. But ultimately what ended up happening is Britain was at the forefront of car manufacturing and development at that time. But because of this law, it set them back so far that now we drive American cars, we drive German cars, Italian cars. There's not a lot of people driving British cars. And so the potential economic impact and the long-term impact that hyper-regulating beyond what is reasonable could potentially have a very dramatic and negative impact on our development as a society. And there's also the ethical implications of, AI tools and systems are already beginning to understand our emotions, our feelings, and they can even put visuals to our thoughts. And so how are we going to both regulate and live in a world where AI can literally provide you with experiences that are better than anything in life? Very interesting to think about. IP and ownership. I was able to use Midjourney to create this Mickey Mouse Nike commercial in 13 seconds. So, that's obviously a concern. There's also a concern with representation. I typed into Midjourney, I wanted to see a picture of a CEO. It created 100 images. None of them were women. There's also, of course, the legal cases that are going on right now. There is, of course, misinformation. For example, like we have no idea if this dinosaur really was at this red carpet or not. And what I want to do, I want to do a breakdown of some of the, basically how you can create an AI video for yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back a video that Shelby put together. It's one of the very first AI documentaries. All of the video examples that I'm showing you, it's funny because with Gen 3 and Luma and all these cool technologies coming out, it makes these feel very outdated, but hopefully you still enjoy this. So it's about 2 minutes long. We'll go ahead and play it back.
Welcome to the 80s, A time of jazzercise, Rubik's Cube, its leg warmers, shoulder pads, and the biggest scandal in pop music history, Milli Vanilli. The year is 1987. A group from Maryland called Newmarks writes a song called Girl, You Know It's True. People in America are going to love this. They didn't, but someone in Germany saw potential for the song.
This song is totally tubular.
Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus have become breakdancing sensations. They are attractive, cool, and, most importantly, marketable. A music producer named Frank Farian sees an opportunity and decides to re-record his own version of Girl, You Know It's True, using session singers Brad Howell, John Davis, Charles Shaw, Jody Rocco, and Linda Rocco.
That sounded great, guys. The band is going to love it.
Frank signs Rob and Fab to be the face of Milli Vanilli, and Girl, You Know It's True becomes a mega hit around the world. They were huge. Milli Vanilli's debut album goes 6 times platinum in the US and diamond in Canada.
Hey, should this thing be plugged in? Details.
It was an almost flawless plan. However, cracks appear in the facade. During an MTV festival in Connecticut, a playback glitch exposes Rob and Fab as lip syncers. The rumor mill starts circulating, but nothing sticks. And then the unimaginable happens.
And the winner of the 1990 Grammy for Best New Artist is Milli Vanilli.
However, Fab and Rob are sick of lip syncing, so they press Frank to let them sing or get out of their contract. Frank, feeling cornered, hosts a shocking press conference, admitting that Rob and Fab never really sang, but we're fabulous stage performers.
It's fine that they didn't sing the songs, right?
The Grammys disagreed.
We're taking this back now.
Fans felt angry and betrayed. Frank releases a new album titled The Real Milli Vanilli, featuring the original session singers.
I always believed in you guys.
But it's too late. The name Milli Vanilli is stained forever. Unfortunately, in the aftermath, Rob Pilatus was found dead in a hotel in Frankfurt due to a drug and alcohol overdose. Fab, on the other hand, continues to make his own music even to this day. And that's the story of how 2 lip syncers became prominent voices of a generation, and how the music of Milli Vanilli lives on. Welcome to the 80s.
Okay, so I want to break down how this project came into fruition. It actually was commissioned by Sony Music as support materials for their Milli documentary that they released recently. Oh, did someone raise their hand? I think I heard it. Maybe not. Okay. So basically, they sent over assets that we could use to just have an idea of the visual aesthetic for Milli Vanilli, and they also put together basically a breakdown of some of the story beats that they wanted to get to. And we only had 2 weeks to put this together, which is not a lot of time. And we basically hopped into the research phase and went all over the internet, looking at all sorts of resources, researching at Milli Vanilli. And, we asked ChatGPT for a 90-second script, but the script wasn't very good. It takes a lot it can spark some ideas, but it's really not a great tool by itself, which is definitely true at this time. It's not to say that it won't be, that it won't be a good tool in the future for creating scripts. It's just not there right now. And you can see that after that, we will create a rough shot list. So for example, it says, gather around music aficionados, and it says we're diving headfirst into the world of Milli Vanilli, and it wants us to have a character jumping into a pool with the logo at the bottom, and basically it would look like this. So not loving that idea, and this is more of a belly flop than a dive anyway. So then you creatively refine your script, and then, of course, make a shot list. And after that, we can do breakdowns for the voices, because all the voices you heard were AI generated, including the German dancer that says this song is totally tubular. I've professionally cloned my voice in 11 labs. And so Shelby was editing and she's like, does that voice sound familiar? I said, no. And she's like, it's you. I did not give consent. Voice generation, basically we put together a radio cut of the video. And then we get into the creative process of developing a mood board, going to tools like Pinterest, or just online resources to, develop an overall vibe for our project. We can do prompt research inside of Midjourney to see what prompts people use in their projects. And then and then we get into image generation, which, you're going to generate thousands of images for a project like this. It's just part of the process. And this is what we got for leg warmers. So some really funny examples here. There's all sorts of just like weird things, like I don't know what's coming out of this guy's nose here, and he's wearing like a shoe on his hand over here. So lots of weird stuff happening. And then we get into face swapping and, stabilizing the face to have more consistency with the characters that need to be consistent inside of the project. There's some advanced tools for doing consistent characters and tools like Midjourney. You guys are talking about some of those processes earlier. Then we create a storyboard cut of our project, basically using images in places of shots, and edit it like a slideshow, basically. And then we use image to video, Pika, Runway, Luma, Kling. There's all sorts of different tools that you can use to do this. And then, some VFX work. We were just chatting with Nick at Native Forum, who's the creative guy behind the Toys R Us ad that went viral last week. And, he was just mentioning that, that project had a lot of VFX work in it as well, rotoscoping and object removal and things like that. And then, titles and finishing and, film grains and just everything else that you need to do to finish up the project. And what was really cool is when we put this project out there, the actual session singers, Linda and Jody Rocco, reached out and they loved the video, which is really cool. So real quick, I'll wrap things up. So what skills are important going forward? Having the ability to be a storyteller is essential. You have to think of yourself as a storyteller and understand the process of storytelling. Curation, of course, very important. Flexibility. So having a workflow and a pipeline that allows you to be flexible as new tools come out. It's very, very important. Think of yourself as a sailboat and not a cruise ship. And here's our quick vision for the future of storytelling. We think that AI will democratize filmmaking. Like I was saying earlier, there's so many people that have been able to find opportunities that they normally would not have had the opportunity to partake in because of artificial intelligence, which is just so cool. We really feel like the best storytellers will tell the best stories. For years we've been told that the best storytellers are, creating films, but we'll find out if that's actually true. And we think that films will, of course, become more affordable to create, which is an important point, especially with the economic inflection point that we see with the industry right now. We believe that derivative and uninspired content will fade away. That may sound counterintuitive because you're like, wait, so many people can just generate videos and films and all this stuff. But the truth is there's a lot of derivative and uninspired content online already. And we don't see it because algorithms help to pull the best stuff to the surface. And we think that will continue to be the case. And we think that the best stories come from collaborations. We've already seen this with our AI competitions. Most of the winners tend to work on teams with multiple people who can bring their own skills and insights and direction to the project. And ultimately, we want to bring back childlike wonder to our craft. We really want everyone to enjoy the process of filmmaking, to not be burnt out and exhausted, but to see the possibilities. And for, nobody got into the film industry because they want to make someone else's vision come to life. We all have our own stories that we want to tell. And we think that these tools are empowering everyone to tell their story. And these people are all over the world. This is a video that was created by a woman in the very first cohort inside of our AI filmmaking course. And she worked on this project and did not have a lot of filmmaking experience before working on this project, but she put it out. It premiered at the Sony lot out in Hollywood. She has been written about in major news publications, had film opportunities available to her, and now her work is actually alongside Banksy and Andy Warhol at the Museum of Pop Culture and Contemporary Art in Estonia right now. So really cool to see her work, and actually she spoke at Cannes this year as well, which is very cool. So that is our quick presentation. My advice to you guys is just to continue to have fun and stay curious. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Caleb, this was absolutely awesome. Absolutely incredible. So if you've got questions for Caleb, please raise your hand, and we'll just call on people. My brain is on fire right now. So Leah, let me pass it to you. See if you have a question for Caleb to kick it off, and then just please raise your hand, and we'll sort of go through in order of people that have raised their hand.
Caleb, thank you so much. I think I really, really appreciated the historic footage of people talking about Photoshop. I think that in my world, this conversation happened over and over and over again in 2002, 2003, 2004. And now we're having the same conversation over and over and over again. And I appreciate the historical perspective. I have a question for you about visual language and how things look. And one of the things I've thought a lot about with generative AI and generative AI videos, they kind of all look the same, right? There's a kind of, and I don't know the language in the cinematic world, but in the photography world, we have different kinds of film emulsions and filtering and ways to make digital imagery look all different kinds of ways, right? I'd love to get your thoughts on the homogeneity, the sort of sameness that I feel like a lot of generative art in general, stills, video, starts to kind of look the same. And I'm curious about where you see that going and where you see it right now with all the different students you have and all the different perspectives. And I'm wondering if I'm just not seeing certain things, or if right now, because of the way the tools are, they look that way, or how you see that shifting and changing.
Yeah, no, I love that question. I think my quick answer to that is we see a lot of derivative, boring, uninspired content because our prompts are boring, derivative. AI has been able to create incredible things that I've never seen before. And of course, there are amalgamations of, 4 million different images and assets that have come together to create something that is, I guess it gets into the question of, is something ever really new, or is it just, a combination of multiple things, which I think is more closer to the truth. So yeah, I think that's kind of the way that I view it. I think that a lot of people are just inspired by, people on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram. And I would encourage folks to find inspiration sources that extend beyond just the tech ecosystems that we fall into. I think there's a lot of people doing some really cool stuff with AI. They just aren't the ones that are chasing the likes and the shares and things like that, which, can sometimes be derivative.
Excellent. Thank you, Caleb. Wonderful, amazing presentation. I'm so inspired. My brain is like in a million different places.
Yeah.
So great to have you here.
Thank you, guys. That's so kind. Well, I guess I can just start at the top. So I think Beth is up next.
And Beth, I did mute you because there was some sound coming in from the background.
I'm so sorry. I've been walking and watching, and I did not mean to raise my hand. Caleb, that was incredible. I'm so glad I caught it. Thank you. I'll be putting my hand down now.
Okay, great.
Apologies.
All good. Okay, I think Rick is up next then.
Caleb, a longtime fan. Thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about your classes and courses that you all are teaching, and also your film festivals, which are fantastic to watch?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so we teach AI filmmaking and AI advertising at Curious Refuge. And essentially what we do is we start courses up each month. Like I said, the July courses start tomorrow. And basically the entire experience is 4 weeks long. And essentially we want you to be able to create a short film using AI by the end of that 4 weeks. And you don't have to know anything going forward, going into it. It's not like you need to have a background in Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or anything. We've had everyone from, incredible writers, directors, Academy Award winners to, there's a girl who's 10 years old from Texas going through the program and making it.
Sweet.
So the playing field is just incredibly level. And we try to basically walk people through, and we test out the latest tools and technology. There are multiple people who create content and create that training. And, like today we're creating update lessons with Gen 3, for example, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So, we are testing and contextualizing these tools on a daily basis and providing that up-to-date training for our students. And, it's honestly really hard for brick and mortar institutions to keep up to date with the rapid rate of change. And so we teach the teachers at most of the major colleges, basically, how to use AI, and they in turn teach their students, which is cool.
I'm a professor, so it's exactly, I'm definitely getting in your class soon. Thank you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, would love to have you inside. Okay, great. I think Jessica's next.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really helpful. I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of Leah's question and your answer. So you mentioned, on the discussion of how the generated video content does have a kind of similar haze to it, like a filtering element to it, I would say. What I found really interesting is that your content was image to video, not necessarily text to video, but you mentioned that one of the things that codes that is that we're using perhaps uninspired prompts. Now, I also work with video from AI, and I've often found a bit of that difference between doing text to video, where you get better movement because the program can create the content, but then the actual content usually isn't as high quality because your prompt has to be pretty basic, compared to when I do image to video, where I can have more better image because I can generate it into like Midjourney, which can be very detailed, but then the movement will be a little bit more bizarre. But similarly to Leah, I noticed that similar haze, kind of that's unified, that tends to come across whenever it's animated into video, because it kind of simplify the pixels. Yep. So it's maybe you could speak to something like that element of it. Like, I think that might have been kind of what Leah's talking to. I'm assuming, but I'm kind of guessing what Leah's talking to a little bit. Like that kind of element of what's going on once you start generating content at all, and especially if you do video to video as well, that things just get so simplified. A 4K video comes out looking like 320K. Like, it's just such a huge difference. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Do you think, do you see that changing at all, that updating as the technology updates? Because I know with, like V3 and Runway finally, but compared to V6 on Midjourney, is that kind of what we're dealing with here? Like, we're still on kind of Model 1 and Model 2 in these programs? Or is it something that's just going to be a bit more universal just because it's such a higher demand of these programs to create so many frames when they're doing animating a video?
Right. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about all of the questions.
Sorry, I know it's like
no. It's so the first is so when we see tech demos and it's just text to video, from a creator standpoint, that is not actually that interesting, because you need to have creative control, and like the presentation was talking about, it's all about iteration. Iteration leads to better projects. And if you are having to type in text to get a video, you basically are not able to get as much consistency as if you use image to video. And having the ability to creative direct using Midjourney, which is our tool of choice, is so essential to laying out your shots, laying out the way you want your film, your project to look like. So whenever, like Runway Gen 3, for as fun as it is to see what people are making with it, I think when you actually get down to it, it's not as interesting as a tool like Luma, which allows you to do image uploads, and it has some of that more advanced and lifelike movement versus traditional Runway Gen 2 or Pika Labs or tools along that nature. So that's my first thought. Second, in terms of the haze, the lack of resolution, just the quality that kind of sucks in AI tools, I'll just use Runway as an example. Runway, they lie. And what I mean by that, multiple things. One, that they are not natively generating their video in HD or 4K. It's a lower quality format. And they have an AI algorithm that takes the video that was generated and it upscales it to a higher quality. That the leap from that image, that video that was created to that larger video, their algorithm is not the best. I actually prefer to use Topaz Video AI to do that process. You get some better results. And then they also, well, I think I lost my train of thought. Oh no, they also are lower frames per second than what they are leading on as well. So they're generating their video in 8 frames per second and interpolating between those frames to create 24 frames per second. So it's a little tricky. I think that most of these tools, they'll say things like, oh, we're 4K, we're, you know, HD, all of these things. And when you actually look at what's happening, they're not actually like great quality. And so that's why you get the haze. That's why you get like eyeballs that have like really like, it looks like someone went in with like a colored pencil around their iris and things like that. So yeah, that's just some quick context, at least on my end.
No, I mean, I think you would know better. I've done some video content, and with the AI video generation, it's kind of why I almost stay out of it, because I just tell my clients, like, I can create some things for you, and I show them like what I make. And it's like, or or I could just make an image and animate the face, and that'll look much better. How would I just make you an avatar? Like, would you rather have that? Because this looks terrible, and it's also extremely expensive. So you want to pay $1,000 for this, or $200 for that? And,
Absolutely. No, I was just chatting with someone who's a tech writer about just how expensive it is to use these AI tools. Gen 3 cost you $1 a minute, or a generation. I forgot which one it is, but it, that adds up. That can get pretty expensive, especially to a creator that doesn't have, let's say, a business reason to be creating their content. So it's very tricky. There's some things that we talk about in our course that can help you to get the most out of the generations. Like, for example, face swapping on the back end to stabilize someone's face so you can avoid some of the warping and stuff like that happens with.
Right.
So there's different things that you can do, but we are in the early stages of AI video, and I imagine that, like, for example, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, that is the new Claude version that just released like last week. It's 5 times more efficient than Claude 3 Opus, and I think we're just going to see the same performance improvements in video algorithms, image algorithms, everything. Like Stable Diffusion, you can create 150 frames per second now. Like, it's wild.
Right.
So
amazing. Great. Let's move on. Paul.
Yes. Thank you, Caleb. That was a fantastic, impressive, and inspiring presentation. I just had a quick question. Who was that incredible filmmaker you showed near the end of your talk that I think you said was featured alongside Banksy in a museum somewhere?
Yeah, her name is Amina Foley. She's really a talented artist, really great. And we actually, after seeing some of her work, we had her come on, and she's the head curator at Curious Refuge now. So we have an AI film gallery where we curate the best projects. And so she watches like everything and curates it for us, which is really cool.
That's got to be torturous good times, watching everything.
It's
Nina Foley. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I saw someone, I think in the chat, was asking, where they can learn more about what we're doing. So curiousrefuge.com is our website, in case you're interested.
Fantastic. I'll look into it. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, James.
Yeah, hi, I'm the king of bland prompt writing. So I'm trying to understand more about a couple things. One is commanding the camera through a scene in Luma Labs, as it is still like a Reddit kind of like Discover lab. Does it understand commands of how to approach scene filming, camera positioning, tilt, all that stuff, or no?
It doesn't do a great job. You can get lucky, and I was doing some tests with Runway earlier today, and it was doing a terrible job as well. Like, I was down to the T following their prompting instructions for different camera angles, and it just wasn't doing it. And so that's just a problem, honestly, that you have with.
Okay, and then following up with the first question regarding the everything's looking the same when it comes to all the output from AI, and I'm very concerned about that going forward. As I keep my art style with my hand and brush, I'd like to try and create a personality with the AI art that I'm creating. Is there a prompt set that you can kind of pre-feed into it ahead of time, saying this is my exact style, and get some better kind of curated output of more of my personality?
Yes, 100%. And there's different levels of technical prowess that could be responsible or could fall on you, depending on how detailed you want to get with it. So the easiest version would be to use Midjourney and use like style reference, for example, with some of your drawings to create, something in the style of the image that you upload, and then just increase the style weight higher than the default so that it really is pulling from that. The more professional option, and the option that studios would use, is to train a custom model, a LoRa model, with tools like Stable Diffusion, or an easier tool is there's a company called Invoke AI. Invoke AI. They allow you to train basically models on your work, and it's a little more user-facing, a little easier to use. So whether you're training it on your own work or you work at like a larger company, they can take large amounts of data and create consistent styles and imagery and drawing styles and all that stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Leonardo is built on Stable Diffusion, so it's a kind of consumer front end to that stuff. So you can build models at Leonardo as well.
Thank you. All right.
That's great. All right, Dr. Brito.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very inspiring presentation. I enjoyed it and I've learned a lot. My questions, I have two questions. One, they both relate to the lawsuit against Suno AI and Udio, which is directed at copyright violation. And my questions are, number one, will the lawsuit culminate in the change of copyright law, or vice versa? Or will copyright law completely destroy AI? That is question number one. And the second is, how will this lawsuit affect the liability of people who use Suno AI and Udio? Thank you for your comment. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, great questions. And actually, first off, we actually at Curious Refuge on our YouTube channel just released a few days ago. It might have been yesterday. Actually, it might have been this morning. I have no idea. We released an interview with 2 IP and copyright lawyers, and we asked them all of these questions. And they basically did a presentation talking about the legal precedents that have been set up to this point in time and that are being set with the lawsuits that are out there. And there's a lot of lawsuits. Like, Suno and Udio is just one of, I'm sure, hundreds that are truly out there. But from that conversation, really what they were able to share with us is the fact that the legal precedents that we have right now related to what you can own with artificial intelligence and training data and all of that, they just do not do a great job with setting a precedent moving forward. And so it's funny, if you look at the terms of service with so many of these tools, most of them say, yeah, if we get sued for someone using, our tool to copyright, infringe on someone's copyright, actually it's your responsibility as the user. It's not our responsibility.
Oh, wow.
Which, like, we'll see, I don't know if that would hold up in court, but a lot of them are trying to offload the responsibility onto the users of their tool. So, obviously, you kind of go into the classic innovator's dilemma now. So you have huge studios, I'll just say Disney, Netflix, all of these other large film studios that want to push into using these AI tools. But the legal, ramifications and responsibility, if they use a tool that was trained on some Getty images that weren't allowed to be there, is so great that they're telling their company and their employees to not use it. So I don't know how things are going to play out with these AI lawsuits. I don't think anyone truly does. Most of them have been thrown out of court at this point, but we'll see. I think the default copyright law says that if you infringe on someone's copyright, they're entitled up to $150,000 for each
infringement. Yeah.
And so I think the Suno thing, like the lawsuit, was something for like hundreds of millions, just like money that they don't have. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And I don't think anyone truly knows, but we do have contact information for some IP lawyers and copyright attorneys if anyone's curious at the enterprise level what you can and can't use. But what's really funny, just having a lot of friends in the industry, working at these major studios, every studio says you're not really allowed to use these AI tools, and everyone is using it. They're just not telling their boss, which is really kind of funny.
The secret cyborgs.
Yeah. All right, Nisha, I think you're next.
Yeah, I think I put my question in the chat. I just was curious in terms of when um, platforms like Sora and others that are going to be released probably into the public soon. Do you see that being sort of a kind of trumpet thing that's kind of out now in terms of AI generated videos, softwares, and platforms that are there?
Yeah, I was just hanging out with the lead filmmaker over at OpenAI last week and talking about Sora. One, no one knows when Sora will be released. There's a lot of red tape with concerns about misinformation and the training data. It's almost certain that they
Won't be before the election.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost certain that they used YouTube content to train the model. So like that's another whole sticky thing. We'll see when Sora comes out. And Sora, the tool that is available to the artists right now is only prompt to video. And from talking with all the artists who are in that beta program, it's the same problem we have with Runway Gen 3. Not very helpful, really, until you have the ability to have far more control. So you can do cool music videos. You can do, like the Toys R Us, project. But if you really start dissecting and looking at those projects, you're like, oh wait, that doesn't quite look right, or that character is kind of inconsistent. So it's the same problems that we have with current tools. So I don't think Sora is going to be this magic bullet. I actually think that some of the other tools, like I think Runway might be in a better spot to develop a generative model, whether we're talking about Gen 4 or beyond, that can really perform at a very high level. Because OpenAI ultimately their goal is not filmmaking or storytelling. Like their goal is to create a generative world model that can understand the entirety of the human experience. And so that's just a different focus. That's not to say that they're not doing incredibly interesting things. I just, long term, I don't know about how useful that tool is going to be, but we'll see. I might be wrong.
And one quick question: I'm actually graduating from film school next couple of months from USC, and I know that there's a lot of fear within the department. I'm just curious in terms of what since you're engaging kind of maybe on a consultative level to these schools, are you seeing that there may not be as much of a need for the official brick and mortar schools coming through, or would they still be in existence?
Yeah, brick and mortar school. I mean, we're at Curious Refuge. We train the USC professors, and we've been chatting about helping USC stay up to date on the technology to train the students, which is really interesting. But honestly, I think that it's going to be tricky for brick and mortar schools to stay up to date on all of this stuff. But I think the benefit of a brick and mortar school is to be around people who are in the same part of life as you, who are equally enthusiastic about storytelling, and ultimately those core storytelling fundamentals. Like we're still falling back on those. The things that were true 60 years ago are still true today. It matters far more that you can tell a story than have the most beautiful tool ever, because ultimately it's story that's going to hook you with the audience. So I think those lessons and those tried and true courses at USC are more valuable than the tech lessons, if that makes sense. But I think that's always been true.
Yeah. Thanks.
No problem. Awesome. I think John is next.
Hey, Caleb, it's great to meet you, and thank you again. Really excellent presentation, and the whole ball of wax. In fact, I'll offer a plug because you didn't mention your podcast, and I was listening to your podcast today. So there is a Curious Refuge podcast with Caleb and Shelby, and really a stellar lineup of guests. So I found that really useful. I have a two-part question. One is, I found that your tip about Luma doing image to video versus text to video, a very interesting tip. More tips about the different apps that you're using for video, because obviously you're spending a ton of time to learn them. I would love to see a chart of the different apps and the pros and the cons and the features, kind of like Consumer Reports. And my second question is that, along that line, I'm particularly interested in apps like Synthesia and LTX Studio, because they do essentially storyboard and have storytelling built into it. So yeah, the more insights about your experiences with all the different apps.
Yeah, of course. Well, I have good news. We do have a webpage that is consumer reports for AI tools at Curious Refuge. So
awesome.
If you just go to our website, in the navigation, there's AI tools. I think you have to type in your email to like get access because we're just, sleazy little capitalists.
Sleazy marketers.
Yes, yes. But if you type in your email, it will take you to that page, and we rate the tools, pros, cons, talk about the limitations. That updates basically every single week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you can check out that tool. And then your second question was about what was it again?
Synthesia and LTX Studio and tools that have storytelling built into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the idea behind having storyboarding built into your tool directly is very interesting. LTX Studio is not very good. Like it's not good right now, and I think that a lot of the promotion of LTX Studio was a little overblown for where the tool is.
Not good because of the quality of the images, or what kind of not good?
The quality of the images, the video, the story, the voices, like, all of the above. I think it's hard for someone to be the all-in-one tool because 11 Labs is going to do voice better than pretty much any other tool. And, Runway is going to continue to innovate with video better than what LTX can do. And so it's hard to combine, because what LTX Studio is doing is really they're taking models like Stable Diffusion, Stable Video Diffusion, and they're baking it into their tool. Basically, those are open source tools, and they're basically an API that connects them all together. And you can't compete with APIs like that whenever the other tools are just doing custom development. They're just getting into the weeds with the latest and greatest. So I like the tool. I like the idea. I think that 2-3 years from now, inside of Runway, inside of Midjourney, we might be creating videos and using the storyboarding process I outlined today. But at this point, I'm not sold on those types of tools.
And have you looked at Synthesia at all?
Their AI avatars tool.
Well, and they have kind of like a Canvas style storyboarding and language translations built in, and I guess it's a particular kind of video, not so much filmmaking as it is training and presentations, would be my take, but yeah. I wanted yours.
Yeah, no, I haven't used their storyboarding feature, but their AI avatars are very interesting for training videos, like you said. I try to picture myself like, I don't know, like getting started working at IBM, and like they sit me down and I have to watch an AI generated training video. And I don't love that experience for the person watching the video. But I do see the value, and it's interesting. So I think Synthesia is like probably the best at AI avatars at this point.
Yeah, it's an interesting use case. Thanks again for all you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Kath, I think you're up next.
Hi, Caleb. Yeah, just a couple of quick questions. One is, do you want to tell us a little bit about the contest you're offering through Curious Refuge? And then the second is, I know you've been going to some film festivals throughout the world, and I'm just curious your thoughts on the ones that you've been involved with and what you're seeing and what stood out to you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the competitions that we run, we just ended so yesterday was the cutoff, so just missed it. Sorry, guys. For a competition in partnership with the Venice International Film Festival. So basically create an AI short film, and the top 10 finalists are getting flown out to Venice, which is really cool. And we've been involved with quite a few different competitions. We hosted an AI trailer competition, holiday film, horror film. Like we love doing these competitions because it really inspires folks to, get their stories out there. And sometimes a blank canvas is kind of scary. So having a little push in the right direction is fun. So our next competition, we're going to do an advertising competition, like a commercial advertising competition in August. And then we will do our horror film competition in September in time for Halloween. So that'll be a lot of fun. And in terms of the festivals, it's funny because I think going into these festivals, from the outset, I'm like, oh, people are going to be really mad about AI. And, it's going to be this like really polarizing thing. And when we go to the festivals, what we realize is people are curious. They want to know what is happening. And so it's not like, people are mad that AI exists or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, behind closed doors, I'm sure there's some of that, but at least the people that we run into and the people that attend our talks, they want to learn. It's just like this room right now. Like people, we want to learn, we want to know what's happening, we want to contextualize and see the creative opportunities. And so that was true at Cannes. Like we spoke all over the place. We hosted the first AI meetup at Cannes last month. And that was really amazing. And we're continuing to go to many different film festivals. And so it's like the biggest topic in filmmaking right now. So it makes sense that it's at most festivals at this point.
Liz, one more.
All right. Hey, Caleb, thanks so much for doing this. My question is around using stills as a prompt. I have done it on Luma using Midjourney images and felt like it was pretty successful. And then I've tried it using photographic images and it felt like a fever dream. Do you see any progress in that space, or is it just that the images that are AI generated have so much metadata within them that the systems understand that?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I see the same problem on my end. It's very weird that live action images or real images don't perform as well. But the same is true with character reference inside of Midjourney. They say that character reference is much better if you're using an AI image versus a picture of yourself. And I've tested it out today, and it would like take my face and it'd put like a big vaudevillian like twirly mustache on me and stuff. It's just,
yes.
It's
interesting. It seems to push some real stereotypes with photographic images.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll have a fix to that soon, but at this point, yeah, it's kind of just a limitation.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
One quick thing on that note, you can always do face swapping on the back end, like I was talking about earlier, if you need to kind of pull some of the facial features.
What tool do you use for face swapping?
Different tools. The easiest tool is AKOOL, AKOOL.com it's just like browser-based face swapping. But whenever I'm working on a professional project, we'll use Face Fusion, which is open source, can run locally on your machine. And I definitely recommend that one, but it doesn't work for everyone's computers. So AKOOL is a good alternative.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, Caleb, this was absolutely awesome. So you have earned what we lovingly refer to here as a golf clap. So let's give Caleb a lovely AI Salon golf clap here. That was really, really awesome. I don't want to put you on the spot. We didn't talk about this before, but it seems like there might potentially be interest, from salon members in taking courses there. So maybe we can talk offline. You don't need to give me an answer now, but maybe we can do an AI Salon discount code or something like that. So we can take that offline. But I just want to, really give you kudos for what you're doing. And, we are two organizations fighting the same fight of, trying not to leave anyone behind. So I feel a real kinship to what you're up to. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for inviting me out. And I tell you, I can give you a quick answer on the discount thing. Yeah, we would love to give you guys a discount.
Awesome.
So the code will be Salon20. So as soon as I get off this call, I'll make that code for you guys. And if you join any one of our courses at Curious Refuge, you can get 20% off.
So, amazing. That's awesome. Awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Leah, what are your thoughts? Lots going on. As you say, we always, no matter how we come into these, we leave going like, this is so cool. So yeah. I feel like that right now.
I feel like that too. And I really appreciate, Caleb, your approach to storytelling and play and experimentation in the creative work, which is what all great creative work is about. And I think often with generative AI, we keep talking about tools. We keep talking about the AI itself versus the storytelling and the thing that is human, which is our stories and who we are. And I really appreciate your approach to that. And I'm really excited to check more about what you're doing and see what's going on. Very inspired.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'll leave you with one thing. when you talked about the 80s thing that you were showing that your wife put together, and you were semi apologizing for it. One of the phrases we use around here is embrace the jank.
Yeah.
That 3 years from now, we're going to look back on those images really fondly because everything will be perfect. And what really struck me about that video was that the storytelling was so strong, you absolutely forgave any of the imperfections. And so I would say lean into the jank right now, but it was such a good example of storytelling trumps bad technology.
Well, and I also think the jank is what makes it human and what makes it real and what keeps it honest. You know, we did a shoot, we did a traditional shoot we had to do handwriting with toothpaste earlier this week, and we were talking about whether or not we do that using traditional camera or we do it with generative AI. And the point was we wanted it to look really messy, and we wanted it to look like it was human made, and we could not get the AI to do that. Like, we could not make it look not perfect. And I think that when we actually can use generative technology to make things that aren't perfect and they're a little bit off and it does look like it was human made, that actually makes it, I think, much more charming. I liked that some things were a little bit strange and a little wonky, and I thought it gave it a character of being able to say, yeah, we are using this tool, and this tool is a little wonky and it does strange things. And I think when we embrace that, it actually makes the work a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Fantastic. It looks like Joy Purdy has your hand up. We're out of time, but Joy, quickly.
Quick question. So I'm in the class right now, as you know, Caleb. I feel like I'm ready to collaborate. Do you have any hints on how to make that happen?
Yeah, collaborate with me or with other people?
With other people. How do you get in with a group to start doing that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the folks inside the Curious Refuge Discord channel, which you guys are all welcome to join for free, is a great place to start, and just reach out to, if you see anyone sharing something cool, I would just hit them up and ask to collaborate.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that would be willing to collaborate. It seems like.
All right, great. I didn't know if there was like a code, like I didn't, but thank you. That's a great answer.
There's the secret handshake. Yeah, no, Steve.
Exactly.
Steve Jobs, famously said, just ask for the appointment you don't think you're going to get, and you'll eventually get it. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Caleb, thank you for a really inspiring night. Leah, once again, thank you as always for what you do and make this.
Thank you.
Place.
And showing up every time.
Yep.
Amazing. Thank you for
all
your
right, everybody.
Okay.
Have a good night.
We'll see you next time.
Have a good Fourth. Have a good holiday.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Thank you for being here.
You done now?
Yep. All done.
I